Well, South Sudan seceded from Sudan 2 years ago, ending one of Africa's longest civil wars. Both countries remain at loggerheads over ownership of disputed territories and other issues. We stay with Sudan, but we now want to turn your attention to the Darfur region, and which still bears scars of a long-running conflict. For more, let's go over to our anchor at large, Ndimyake Mwakalyelye. Ndimi.
Well, thank you, Vincent. Now, an international donors conference underway in Doha to reconstruct Darfur raises money, but also many questions about the region's state of insecurity. Representatives of the international community, including the United Nations, the World Bank, and the governments of Sudan and Qatar, were gathered in Doha to pledge financial support for development aid in Darfur, have already made headway, with Britain pledging 16.5 million and Qatar 500 million. The total amount of development aid sought is 7.2 billion. Conference participants are looking for ways to lay the foundation for long-term recovery, development, peace and stability in the region. HASSAN OMAR, head of the Sudan delegation in Darfur peace negotiations, acknowledged the donor country's support and called for similar cooperation in economic and development sectors.
I see that most countries responded to the generous call of Qatar, and I hope that the political support will also be accompanied by economic and developmental support, so we can provide the right answers to the development problem and shortage of services, which was the main reason behind the conflict in Darfur. I think that the political side always overshadows development and humanitarian sides. But we call everyone, donors or non-donors, to really look at the difficult living conditions people in Darfur suffer from.
Back in a number of camps across Darfur, displaced persons have been holding protests against the timing of the conference, saying the region continues to witness genocide, war, killings, displacement and rape in the absence of security and a comprehensive peace agreement. Many Darfuris are demanding for the enforcement of security in the region before any conference takes place. Years of international efforts have failed to end a rebellion in Darfur, where mostly non-Arab insurgents took up arms in 2003 to fight against what they called the Arab-dominated government's neglect of the region. The government mobilized troops and allied militias to quell the rebellion, unleashing a wave of violence that led human rights groups and the United States to accuse Sudanese officials of carrying out a genocide. It is for this reason that the International Criminal Court has indicted Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir for crimes against humanity and war crimes in Darfur. The Sudanese government signed a Qatar-sponsored ceasefire with the splinter Darfur rebel group in 2011 in an attempt to revive a stalled peace process to end a decade-long conflict. Officials at the conference said that the success of the peace efforts in Darfur proves that Arab and African countries are capable of solving their own problems. Now, in 2008, the United Nations said that about 300,000 people may have died in Darfur's war, a figure some activists say is actually too low, but the government of Sudan has put the death toll at just around 10,000. Joining us now via Skype from New York is Ahmed Hussein Adam, Foreign Affairs Secretary of the Justice and Equality Movement, or GEM, and also a visiting scholar at Columbia University in New York. And we really thank you for joining us today, Mr. Adam.
Thank you.
So there are so many objections to this conference, which is really an extension of the Doha document for peace in Darfur that was signed earlier in the year. Why so much resistance to what at least reconstruction efforts could bring to Darfur further down the line?
Construction and development of Darfur is a noble mission. We all seek that. And I think that's the right thing to do when time comes. But right now, the people of Darfur, the internally displaced persons, the refugees, the civil society, the entire people of Darfur right now, they ask for the end of violence. They ask for the end of genocide, which is taking place right now. These people are gathering there in Doha, but actually they are not aware, or they are aware actually about the situation on the ground. Situation on the ground right now, a lot of harassment against the internally displaced persons in their camps. There is air bombardment, continuous air bombardment against civilian population and their livestock. And there is a lot of ground attack from the government forces on the ground and their militias. The people there, the civilian population, as well the internally displaced persons, they want this to end right now. That's why they are calling upon the international community to have the real will and political will to end the violence.
Now,
this is not the time for construction and not the time for the development anymore.
Now, Mr. Adam, there was a peace agreement that was signed yesterday between a splinter group of GEM, the Justice and Equality Movement, and also the government of Sudan to address those exact issues, to end the war in Darfur. But now you're saying that it's really not for that effort. You're saying that Qatar really has pushed for this conference because it wants to save face, because its peace efforts in Darfur have failed, and that really Sudan's motive here is just to get money so that it can alleviate its economic crisis at the moment. How far true is that, at least according to many?
We are all for peace. We all want actually this violence to end, but by addressing the root cause of the conflict. We are not for the peace just provide, jobs for some individuals or something. Those who signed the document yesterday in Doha, actually they are created by the government, created long time ago, and they are affiliated with the government, but they brought them there to sign that agreement, and the time of their signing is very clear. That is a PR kind of exercise. Qatar and the government of Sudan, they want to give a rosy picture and false picture that the Doha document is working and the Doha document is succeeding. The Doha document actually failed to address the root cause of the conflict and rejected widely by the people of Darfur, including the internally displaced persons and refugees. These people who signed the agreement, including Tigani Sesi, who first signed this so-called Doha document, he cannot go to any single internally displaced person camp to defend his own agreement. The IDPs overwhelmingly rejecting this agreement. But what they are doing right now there is not for the people of Darfur. If they really care about the people of Darfur, they should actually resonate to the people of Darfur, appeal for the ending of violence and for not to support the genocidal regime, which is indicted, by the International Criminal Court. And that, as you know, the head of the regime is indicted by International Criminal Court. If there is real work for the people of Darfur and they want actually to end the violence and to end the genocide, they have to have the will so that to support the ICC to bring Mr. Bashir before the International Criminal Court.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed Hussein Adam, Foreign Affairs Secretary of the Justice and Equality Movement, or GEM, and also a visiting scholar at Columbia University in New York, from where he joined us by Skype.